sure, a lot of government good employees. There's also a lot of them who are just really good at getting promoted.
Most of the good government employees that I know were something else at another time.
Exactly. But real quick, talking about the government programs and government promotions and everything. What was Hegsmith cutting here lately? They
No,
what
no,
was
no,
he? Secretary of Defense, right?
right.
Pete
He's
Hegsmith.
sec def, but
For
they
people who don't know,
right. But he had so in the military, a fairly recent addition of the military is a thing called the Command Assessment Program.
right?
It's a promotional board that that factors in psychological evaluations and potential biases into leadership. And while that sounds good, the problem with it is that and this is by design. They deliberately are creating something that has non-quantifiable metrics
More
that
qualitative, yeah.
so you can say oh we don't like his psychological assessment, or oh, and frankly far more common, he's not really following the inclusion that we're hoping for, and that would severely affect your career regardless of how good
Yeah,
of a soldier you are.
exactly. I was in the Air Force for almost 3 years, and not very long. But I grew up in a very military family. My uncle was a TI, my dad was CIA and
Well,
an
you had a
agent.
medical issue that
I had a
forced you
medical
to do
issue.
that.
That's the only reason why I left. I
Yeah.
love the military actually, but when I saw people get promoted, it was based off your skills and your assessment and your accountability and maybe a little bit of knowledge about your MOS, which is your job. Like
Mhm.
nurses would know about nursing and mechanics would know about mechanicking and so on and so forth. Snipers would know about sniping. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole idea is, I mean, we always used to have fun sending the new guys out to go snipe hunting, and kind of like kind of like the Andy Griffith show. Like, we're gonna go snipe hunting, go kill some snipers. But there were no snipers. There were no snipes to hunt. But the funniest thing was whenever we'd always tell a guy to go look for a tool that never existed.
Mm.
And this one
Wire
guy looked around. We had him busy for 3 weeks.
looking for wire stretchers and things like that.
What? Because I was an aircraft mechanic. I worked on F-15 engines, so I worked
Mm.
on the F-15 Eagle, and we were doing Pratt Whitney engines and everything. So we sent them out looking for these here, wire stretchers and these wrench adjusters and stuff like that. We just make up different random names. It was my job. I mean, they called it hazing. I didn't call it hazing. I just called it, breaking everybody in to knowing exactly what the tools are, which you should have known already by going to tech school of what all the tools are to work on a very expensive engine like that. That's worth a few $1,000,000. You should have already known that before you got to your base. And
Yeah.
it's my job to educate them on what they didn't know. And so, I mean, that's how you got promoted by actually having knowledge. This whole this whole psychological thing. Now, granted, we didn't like any crazy employers or crazy bosses or supervisors, but you know what? They all are every now and then. When you're in the military, it's a very stressful environment, and it sometimes breaks people to the edge. But the whole idea of being in the military is coming back from that and containing yourself and doing a really good job and working with everybody. I mean, nobody's going to be stress free, and if they're trying to find the perfect, DEI Ken doll for or GI Joe for their military apparatus or their person they're trying to put out there, they're not going to find it through all these psychological assessments. Not granted, you don't want anybody who's like punching, other workers. You don't want anybody who's violent or doing drugs or nothing like that. But that's stuff that you're going to probably figure out before you even get promoted. You'll have letters of reprimand and letters of counseling. You'll
I was
never
gonna
even
say,
get to that point.
all that psychological stuff is going to show up in your jacket anyway. And by the
Exactly.
way, and by the way, if you are a commander that is consistently promoting bad people, then it's going to affect your ability to get promoted as a commander. Because
I agree.
once you start becoming a senior command, then they start looking at the effectiveness of your command.
I mean, if everybody's gonna be like Klinger or Section 8 driven, it's gonna pop up before you even get to the spot of being promoted.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, this it's just another hurdle to hurt the wonderful enlisted and officers that are serving our country or are doing their best to put their lives on the line every single day, no matter what job they're doing. to keep us free. And, all this bureaucratic crap in the middle of it, trying to make every, square object go into a round hole is not going to work. It's stupid.
Craziness.
And it's great to get rid of that kind of program. I mean, it needs to go back to your skills, your assessments, your aptitude, your ability.